Okay, so this is that recipe that you guys like, especially Cassandra. It's called chicken with green olives. And you'll be noticing that I'll be reading a lot of this. The recipes that I'm going to give you in the future while I'm putting this little thing together, most of them I'll just be telling you what to do because I know most of the recipes. But we're going to have a lot, though, that's going to be read out of a book. I don't mind using some of the recipes in a book. If I run across good ones, which I have over time, then that's not a problem. Just to tell you just the way to make it out of the book. Then there's going to be little notes that I'll tell you about a recipe or as I'm going along. So you need to get something to write with. And then I'll talk for another second while you're finding a pen or a pencil. I was going to make a cookbook that I was going to actually put on the iBook store using iBooks Author. And it was going to be a book for sale. And I don't know if I'll ever have time for that. I mean, for 2 years ago is when I thought I wanted to do that. And here it is 2 years later, and I've never even figured out a good cover to put on the book. But once I've done all these little things we're going to do now while I'm still working with this, I am going to eventually put all of this into an iBooks Author book. It's going to be an iBook. You have to have a Mac or an iPad to actually see the book that I produce with this. And that won't be a problem when it comes time for that. Anyway, are you ready to write? These are the things you need for this chicken with green olives. You need 3 tablespoons of olive oil, but that means you got to use way more than that, 5 or 6 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of butter. Use 4 or 5 tablespoons of that. They want to use just chicken breasts, which I've never done. So they're talking about 4 chicken breasts here, and partly boned, if you know what that is. But I wouldn't do that. If all you guys like is chicken breasts, then yeah, do that. Just do 4 chicken breasts. But we always do a few chicken breasts, a few thighs, never wings. They're too little to eat in a dish like this. But that's what I would do. They say here, 1 large onion finely chopped. That's what you should do. Just chop the hell out of it, mince it so that it's very fine. 2 garlic cloves. I'd use 2, maybe 3, 4. Not any more than that. But then crush it, mince it, get it very finely chopped. Use the food processor if you want. That's a good way to get it down to nothing. Now here's the thing. 2 red, yellow, or green bell peppers. For the size of dish that they're referring to here, which would be plenty big enough for Chelsea, you and whoever else can eat, and Sean and Cassandra, Julie, this one recipe is enough. But if you guys are going to ever have a big party and you want to make a big dish, naturally just double or triple this. You also need, it says once again, it's talking about, getting back to the red, yellow, or green bell peppers. I'd get, it's calling for 2. I'd get 3, a green, a red, and a yellow, and just chop those up. You want them chopped pretty large, maybe an inch or more. Chop them up very coarsely. Then you want, it says here again, 9 ounces of button mushrooms, sliced or quartered. Well, Sean, you know about the baby bellas and all the good mushrooms. Use whatever you want. But once again, I would use at least 16 ounces and not the 8 ounces they're talking about here. 6 or 8 ounces of tomatoes. Like buy 3 or 4 Roma tomatoes, nice red Roma tomatoes, wherever you can find them. And then you're going to, it says here to skin them and cut them in half. there's no need to skin them. The skin comes off in this while you're cooking them, and nobody would ever even see it. That's what to do. 2/3 of a cup of dry red wine. If you can go to King Soopers or wherever you want to, just buy a bottle of their cooking wine. White, buy Chardonnay, buy red cooking wine. Always have that stuff in the cupboard because it does add to the flavor. So put 2/3 of a cup, get 2/3 of a cup of that. Then the little green olives that are sliced with the little pimentos in them, get a little bottle of those. Now it says here 4 to 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. Heavy cream, the kind you could whip into whipped cream. 4 to 6 tablespoons would do nothing. So you're going to put at least half a cup of heavy cream into this mixture that we're going to talk about. Then you're going to get that 16-ounce box or bag of the little bow tie pasta. That you'll remember that, but that's what you need for that. Salt and pepper naturally. Parsley. I can't tell you the importance of parsley. So, and I don't mean don't ever. If you just don't ever buy cilantro for any reason, just forget that it even grows. But anyway, you take parsley and get a good-sized bunch and chop that, the leafy part, and put at least 1/3 of a cup of that into this mess. What you're going to use is a big, deep, baking, like what you'd put a turkey in is the best way to do this. If you don't have one that big that has a cover, then just get something that big and use aluminum foil. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to heat the oil and the butter in the skillet. You're going to put the chicken in there, and you're going to brown that real good all around. Just let it cook a while. Turn it, and do that. And then after you've done that, then remove that. Put it in a bowl, some kind of dish next to the stove. Now then you add the onion, the garlic, into that pan, and you fry all that a little bit till the onion is pretty well done, where it's kind of transparent. You know how to do that. Medium heat. Then you put the bell peppers in this big pan. You ought to have just a big frying pan, which I know that you guys have access to. So put the bell peppers in that same pan. Put the mushrooms. Let me think about one other thing that I wanted to add to this. Okay, well, put the mushrooms in there. There's nothing more there. And fry all of that for a little while. 5-10 minutes, just to get all the flavors to go together. So do that. Then you're going to take this pan we've been talking about, the one that goes to it's going to go in the oven. And you put all of it in there, all your vegetables. Then you take these pieces of chicken and you put those all around on top of the vegetables. And then I just want to see what it tells you to do with the oven. I'm sure it's probably yeah. So you're going to put the oven on 350 for 50 minutes is what it takes to do this. After you put this casserole together, like in a big pan, take some of the wine that we talked about up here, put that into this mixture, and just squircle it all around, mix it up real good. Preheat the oven to 350. I'm going to tell you about preheating. People hear that and they just turn the oven on 350 sometimes, and then they throw their whatever it is in the oven. That's not good, because it takes 10-15 minutes for an oven to get to 350. Even if you had a really good oven, it takes 10 minutes to get to that 350. So if you put food in there at that point, then all of a sudden you're cutting 10 minutes off your cooking time. So don't do that. No matter what you cook, when it says preheat the oven, well, it should always say that. Then preheat the oven till it's up at the right temperature. Let me see what else we got here. Well, this is an important point. All of this stuff that we've talked about is going to be cooked together in the oven, 350, for those 50 minutes. You got to remember, don't put the olives or the cream into that mess until you're right towards the end, maybe 5-10 minutes towards the end. Then you put your cream in there and put all your olives in there, and then just mix it all around with a couple big spoons and put it back in the oven for that last 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it's calling for. Now, we like the bow ties, and that's what this recipe calls for, the little bow ties. That's probably the best one you could use for this. It's a good cut of pasta to eat like a soup. And you're going to buy the box of 1 pound. You're going to put that in the water, boiling water with plenty of salt. There's something I'll be telling you over and over again as time goes on, and it's something you should know anyway. In Italy, salt in the water for boiling your pasta, it means this. You see this hand? This is hard to do. You fill that hand with you fill it where you've got a big pile, 4 or 5, 6 tablespoons of salt, and you throw that in the water. And you don't need to use olive oil in the water to keep everything from sticking. Just put about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in the water with that salt. Bring that to a big boil. Then throw your pasta in there. That's how you do pasta. And, you need to check pasta pretty often. The worst thing you could ever eat in your life is pasta that's just all mush. So get it out of there when it's like they say al dente, and that means kind of firm. You don't want it to where when you bite in it, you can see the raw in the dead center of the noodle, but just to where it tastes good. And hold on. That's about it. Stir it all around when you're done. Put this big thing on the table and, put something under it, obviously. And that's what we're going to do Friday night, tomorrow night. And I might also tell you the date. Maybe I should date all these little entries. Today is the 5th of February. My birthday was 2 days ago. And once again, thank you guys for doing that little surprise thing. I've never been that shocked or surprised. I came in the door of the kitchen, and it honestly took me 5 or 10 seconds to I was thinking, what? I didn't know what I was seeing. And then it hit me what was going on. And I saw Pam right there at the doorway, and she was like smiling, and so then I knew that she was in on the deal. And I know very well, Chelsea, you'll see this eventually. I know very well that a lot of these times, if you could come, you'll be here. And if you can't come, you can't come. For everyone here to know about Chelsea, she doesn't need to go into this, and nobody really needs to know because that's just her job. Chelsea has the kind of job that she can't call in sick. I mean, unless she was deathly ill, she couldn't call in sick, let alone on the last day or a day in advance say, could I get off tomorrow night? She has street people that are into all the drugs and the booze, and these are all, a lot of them are nice people, but they live in, who knows where they live. But there's no way to notify all of those people that come to her group that she has to run that night and tell them that there won't be a group meeting. They can't come there and see that nobody's there. Their counselor, like Chelsea is their counselor. But anyway, I'm saying that just so that everyone knows that I understand completely why Chelsea was not able, and in the future won't be able to come to every little thing at the drop of a hat. I can assure you she'd have been there if there was an easy way to do it. But anyway, this chicken with green olives, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, so anyway, there's the book that I got this out of. We found this at who knows, one of these secondhand stores. And me and Pam look all the time at cookbooks. Pam is not into doing a lot of cooking. I'll tell you about Pam right now, too. And I'll be telling you a lot more things about all of us. Pam, when I met her, she said I could eat the bark off a tree. And what she meant by that is she doesn't care what we cook. She likes pretty much everything. If she doesn't like it, she won't eat it. And that's really the way it is. But there's awfully few things I've ever cooked in the time we've been together that she didn't gladly eat. So she must have liked most of it. But what I'm saying is that Pam, she's going to like this little book thing that I put together because it's a family thing. And she's part of that. So anyway, I'm going to let this go now, and I'll do another one pretty soon now, maybe on the next recipe. And then maybe sometimes it won't have a thing to do with cooking. It'll just be some little stupid thing I want to talk about. But I love everyone, and I'll talk to you later.